Greetings everyone and welcome to another Defcamp and Melderon TV podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, remember you can listen to a Defcamp Melderon TV podcast on your favorite podcast provider, including Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening on one of those services, don't forget to check us out on YouTube at Defcamp Melderon TV. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at def_mel, M-E-L-TV. Thank you so much, and keep on keybinding and grinding. Hello everyone and welcome to another Defcamp and Melderon TV podcast/video. Today we're going to be talking about mostly TBC. TBC is probably on the horizon and we're really stoked for it. And there's a lot of things that we need to talk about as far as the community is concerned, how the game is being implemented by Blizzard. But also we're going to be talking about the end of Classic as well, as Classic is what we think is wrapping up soon. And with me today I have Defcamp.
Hello everybody, how you doing?
And I also have two astounding gentlemen, friends of the channel, pillars of the community, Pohgren and vXCozmoz. How are you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good. Excited. Really excited. I almost forgot what I was going to say there for a second.
And VX, how's it going over there in Sweden?
In Sweden, yeah. It's apart from it's raining here, it's shining dandy.
Very nice, very nice. So, I feel full disclosure to the audience, Pohgren and VX actually contacted us to talk about this because there's a lot to talk about, and it's important, and I think that we need to spend time to kind of think about how TBC is going to be implemented. But I have a question for you guys before we get started. So, Pohgren, how's your Classic experience been? Where are you with the game right now?
So I would say at first it was kind of a little stressful because I was running a guild when I should have not run a guild. I've realized that now. But no, it was busy. It was at first I was doing tons of stuff, and then we got stuck in Molten Core, and then slowly watching my guild die was a little rough.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I mean, I got the transition out. I got to play and do BWL. I'm almost in full Tier 2 and Tier 1 at this point. I don't really need much more on my Shaman. I haven't done AQ at this point. I'm just starting to come back. I've kind of restarted. Classic Hardcore has definitely pulled me in really hard. Like, yeah. I love that. And I'm also leveling a Warrior on Scarum right now. I'm like level 19 and a half, a little bit over right now. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Nice. And VX?
Well, you know me. I like to start fresh, so I'm just gonna say it's about that time again. We do this with my duo Philly homies and Mr. Use wanna come to Piggly Wiggly himself from Wisconsin.
Oh, you know what Piggly Wiggly is? Holy crap!
When I said Wisconsin, I instantly sort of Wiggly or something.
Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah.
Pig.
And VX, you are currently aren't playing Classic, correct?
No. So some may have recognized my name, or our other podcast that we did, like I think it's 3 months ago from now, when we did that. The kind of Classic learn from can TBC learn from Classic, right? And,
yes.
So but for some who have listened to that don't want to hear me say the same thing, so I'm just gonna say it flat out. I haven't played yet, actually. So I think it's 6 months now that I've been away from Classic, but I have been eager to get back. But sometimes I just feel like I'm going back and forth, right? Like, should I go into Classic? Should I not go into Classic? Should I, wait and build up more hype for TBC? It will all be, determined how Blizzard would do this, right? Like, do I need to go in and farm X amount of gold, or will there be a gold cap? Yeah. There is so much things that can or could happen, so I just don't know yet, really.
But you've been keeping tabs. I know you've been keeping tabs on everything.
Oh yeah.
I know you're vicariously watching through all of us, and also like you've definitely got your finger on the pulse. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. And try to keep updated with the picture that I gave you on Discord as well. With the updated news that. Perhaps this is just rumor, but someone who that Nano guy said like we may get TBC launch already. It's like way sooner than I even expected, but again, it's just rumors.
I think it's a good place to start off because I just want to say that I know Nano somewhat. I mean, we just played a game of Among Us with him not that long ago, and Nano, I don't think he's the kind of person that would I think he would only put that out if he had a very strong case about it. So I think I'm willing to put money that is probably true. But I don't want to say that it's a definite, right? So that's my thought on it. Yeah.
Especially since it said like I have a second source or second person confirm it, quote.
Right.
So I mean, as rumors go, I think this is as close as you can get if you're gonna trust a rumor anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It's got a lot of people talking right now too. I know I saw Stay Safe made a video about his projection of when they would actually drop everything, and I think it's pretty solid. Even you had thrown it in the Discord chat here on when you guys thought X, Y, and Z was going to happen, and February is probably we're gonna get some killer news, and then it's going to probably be that like next March, if not like in May time, is when we're going to get that launch.
Which is really a short time when you're talking about from announcement to launch. It's a short amount of time, but
it's a game that's already been made,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then one thing I would really like to talk about in this as well, as I'm sure we're going to get to, is how are they going to implement that going from Classic to TBC? And another thing that I think is really important to talk about is talking about how they're going to release TBC content, because 100% they can't really do it the way it was done back in the day, where all these raids were available at the launch, but there was the attunement process, right? So the best thing I think would be to time gate each raid tier and stuff like that, and we'll get to that. But first and foremost, I just wanted to say, Pohgren, I definitely feel with you for the guild thing, man. A lot of guilds right now have been, unfortunately, biting the dust. They've been going down because there's just a lot of pressure, a lot of things going on, a lot of different types of players, and with AQ40 right now, a lot of people say, AQ40 is so easy, this and another, and yes, we're clearing it very easily, and this and another, but AQ40 did kind of destroy a lot of guilds, and so did BWL and some other things, because you have different people expecting different things. You have all these people, getting sick of world buffs and this and another, and they don't want to do it without world buffs, so they feel like they have to, but then they get sick of it, and this and the other, or they're sick of getting their world buffs dispelled or getting killed on the way to the instance.
Yes,
and,
cost.
Right. Cost benefit analysis for sure.
Well, one of the biggest things I watched Willie like a couple weeks ago. He made a video about the economics of the game, and he was talking about market pricing on different items. And he talked about Harad, which is the server I was originally on. I've now transferred off of it. I'm probably never going to want to play on a hardcore Skyrim's different because it's like playing on a PvE server. There's no alliance.
Yeah.
So there's less of this other aspect that I didn't actually enjoy as much as I had hoped I would. There were times when we went out and did world PvP that was awesome, especially around Black Rock Mountain. But there was he's talking about Righteous Orbs. Righteous Orbs right now are going for 4 to 5 gold on that server.
Yeah.
A single Righteous Orb. Yeah. It's okay. That's actually better, because when I was still playing there were 25 gold a pop for a Righteous Orb.
Yeah.
And I was like, how the hell am I going to farm up gold for this? I can't play and farm on a shaman that easily.
Yeah.
I can try, but it's not the... I would try doing mining, I would try doing herbing, and it wasn't working. And there's this besides that cost, and then you're losing players because you're not able to do what you thought you could set out to do, and the raid's a little bit harder, or there's certain things you need to tweak here in people's play styles, and you got people not listening, you got people that are sitting there bickering back and forth about loot, and then the ultimate thing comes down to is time commitment and not having that, and then not being able to provide that for the people who need you in the guild. And it's sorry guys, I gotta do me, I gotta enjoy my life. And it was rough at the end because we had a good solid group of 20, 25 people that will always show up to raid, always be there on time. And then we had another they carry the rest. And then we had another 10 really good pugs who always showed up and were really fun because they wanted to raid with us. They were this was their alts. They had their main guild that they were going hardcore with. We were slower. We were doing I think on a good night Molten Core in an hour and 45. On a bad night 2 hours and 15. It wasn't that bad at the time, but we couldn't get rag down ever, and enough people were enough is enough. I tried recruiting more. This is where I lost it with the game. So I'm sitting there in trade chat trying to recruit people for the guild and be like, hey, I know BWL's right around the corner. This is what we're looking to try to do. We can course go into BWL. We're probably going to do everything, but we're probably not going to be able to do NEF. That was the one thing I was just we're probably not going to have the people for it. And I would get, go kill yourself. I would get, how dare you ask for because we were doing we wanted to do kind of a little bit of a loot council plus rolling off, so it'd be okay, who are the people in contention this week? We'd have class leads. The class leads would then determine who's in contention. There would be a roll off between those people, and whoever got it that week didn't have an opportunity to roll the next week. It was we had a really cool system we wanted to do with it, and I tried to explain that to people, and I'd get told to go shove it. you're not worth my time if you're not clearing in 30 minutes. And I was just like, oh, okay, so this is where I'm at right now. This is the server I'm on. Look at all these childish people. Like, I just don't want to deal with it.
It's unfortunate because I think Herod became a very hardcore server, and for a guild like yours to survive on the server like that must have been really hard. And running a guild is like running a business, and something that Melderon did very well, and I'm sure Melderon can attest to this as well, is like, big shouts out to Talix, big shouts out to all of our officers, Jinja and Navik. Like, Melderon is very good at delegating where he needs to. So like Talix, Talix is like probably the pillar of our guild. He really does a lot of the recruitment, as does Melderon, and he take all the financial stuff, all the thousands of gold and all the different orbs and all the enchanting material and all the different stuff. It's like running a business and to delegate, and it's really hard for one person to run that business. You know what I mean? And Melderon was really good at saying, okay, guys, this is our guild. I might be the GM, but like the power is spread out between a lot of people, and a lot of people did come up and stand up and say, hey, I'll help out with this, I'll do this, I'll do that. And I think that is one of the biggest parts of the success of our guild, is the fact that people stood up, did their part, and we have a lot of really amazing, like we have, I think, almost 30 people from our original core, and now we're in the top 200 guilds in the world. From beginning one of the worst guilds probably on our server, you know what I mean? Well, not guilds, but raid teams. Like, our raid team was not that great. We were not doing that good. But how much we've progressed over time is one of the things I'm most proud of this game.
Yeah.
Our guild.
I just want to say, like, I wouldn't feel bad if anyone is listening that had a situation where their guild fell apart, or were in leadership and it fell apart. So the way this works, and I didn't believe Al when we first talked about this, but Al and I talk a lot, and we did some podcasts together as well, and he was like, attrition just increases as the game goes on, and he's like, you'll see guilds fall apart, you'll see guilds merge, you'll see all these things, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I didn't think that was going to happen with Classic, and the thing is, like, in order for the guild to stay afloat, it takes, what's the saying? It takes a village, whatever. That's exactly that's like the truest thing I've come across. Because we've raid leaded before, Defcamp and I, but it was on a much smaller scale. 40 people. So threat and 40 people are the classic WoW mechanics, right? Those are the mechanics. Those are the things you have to worry about. Everything else is pretty much like...
And world buffs.
World buffs.
So world buffs. You don't need it. We can talk about that in a second.
So there's three. There's like three mechanics, right? And those are the things like you have to just keep under. And the threat situation for us, our limiting factor early on was tanking. We didn't have the Iron Fist tank that came in and kind of was like, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. And we suffered because of that for a very long time. We had great people that were in those roles, they just weren't Navik. And I think it, and I don't want to display anything that I do or Defcamp does or Talix does. Like, the guild wouldn't exist without us, but you need that tank, right? And it's like one of those things where, I don't think we'd be where we are today if it wasn't for Navik. Like,
oh no, absolutely not.
Nowhere near.
Turned us around.
Yeah.
So,
but we were lucky. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's luck, right? It's not so much. Yes, I'm fortunate to know these people, right? Not everybody can say, "Oh, let me go call the best tank in the world right now on the phone." Like, not many people can do that, right? I mean, he's pretty high up there. I'm not saying he's the best, but he's very, very high up there, and he's a genius for this game, right? And I was able to be like, Navik, we're in a situation. I know you stopped playing. I was wondering if you want to, come back and tank and all these things. And he's like, I'll give it a shot. And, and that's one of the things that was the turning point for us. Like, we have the best I guess what I'm trying to say is you can't just have the best leadership. You have to have the best,
no, you do.
Players.
Look what happened to Onslaught. Certain, like, you could be one of the best guilds in the world and still have one of your raid teams fall apart. What I mean?
They had attrition as well. But no one's immune to it, is what I'm trying to say, right?
Exactly,
Yeah. But, I think... Before we talk about the ending of Classic, and I think this is going to lead into that. Mm-hmm. I made that video about World Buffs before the game launched, and it was Taladril's script, and he's like, this needs to be made. You need to make this video. And before I read that script, I thought they were pretty much innocuous because I was playing on private servers.
Yeah.
And they were there. Of course they were there. But it either wasn't as big of a deal, or because there was no cooldown on them.
They were easier to get.
They just were so easy to get. Good. Yeah.
They're easy to get. The other thing I would also point to is that when Classic came out, there was this hype built around this is going to be a hard game. And to be a hard game, you need to be able to be a top tier player to be good at this game.
Right.
So then it became, we're going to talk, not you guys specifically, but other channels, other YouTubers, other content creators, streamers. We're talking about how you're going to need these world buffs. You're going to need X, Y, and Z in your party. This is your perfect raid composition. And it allowed a certain player base to go buck nutty with it and just go, I'm going to turn this up to 11. I'm going to find all the ins and outs. And the game became what we call in the board game circles a solved game. There is a specific mathematical sequence in which you can do for success. And they turned Classic WoW into that. The moment you can min-max and this has become a real reality, it's coming out from Blizzard, and this is going to get huge mainstay on Twitch. This is going to be a huge thing for YouTube. The hardcore players, those sleeper agents that were sitting there probably playing BFA or whatever else was out at the time, were like, finally, let's go back and do this right.
Yeah.
And they went and did it, and it kind of shaped how we started playing the game, because I am a much more casual player compared to some of the other people that are out there. And if you're not doing it, you're not going to be able to raid, because this is what is what we believed was required to raid. And now you look back at it, and world buffs just aren't needed.
They aren't. Oh, they are.
No, they aren't.
Yeah.
But one of the sad parts is I think there was a huge misconception early on that Classic WoW was going to be really difficult and raiding and all this and the other. That's not the case at all, right? The case is that it's more of a hardcore style of game, so there's more time commitment, right? There's more energy put into getting consumables, getting these things, getting when you need to get into BWL and Nax and all this other stuff. But when it comes to mechanics, the game is it's an infant when it comes to mechanics and the other
because the game was literally in its infancy.
Exactly, and that's the point. And I think a lot of people said, okay, so everyone needs to get world buffs to overpower this. What happened is world buffs became the norm, right?
Yep.
So, and what Melderon calls the world buff effect, right? You get one person in the raid who gets world buffs. He's top DPS. All people want to compete to get top DPS.
Not only that, but the tank now has to get it.
Well, I was saying now the tank has to get it, right? Because the tank can't hold threat without having world buffs if everyone else does. And it's that world buff effect which leads to, people getting sick and tired of logging in, getting world buffs, keeping their character logged out for 2-3 days so they can keep the buffs, getting ganked on the way, getting dispelled there, and all these other things which lead to people to quit the game. And I think honestly, I think the world buff situation is one of the biggest reasons why you have so many people upset about the game and what it is, because of the griefing that surrounds it as well.
And even on PvE servers, the requirement for world buffs was a little silly. And it's are we in a top tier guild? No.
Right.
Then why are you trying so hard for this right now? Sorry.
Yeah, it's like doping, man. I think it's like one of those things where everyone tries to find the least path of least resistance, and I think that if you put them in the game, and that was the point of the video, if they're in the game, every fucking guild's going to get them, right? It's or at least one person's someone's going to get it, right? That's the problem. And I was like, the whole point of the video was, Blizz, don't put them in the game. Just don't, because one of the biggest backlashes I got was, it's going to be so much harder to attain on Classic. Because there's no cooldown. I'm like, well, don't you see the point? That's going to make it worse. The fact that there is a cooldown will mean that you'll have to stay logged out for fucking days. You know what I mean? And that was the thing. Yeah, VX, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised to hear all this because remember my first video that I did with you. I mean the other TBC podcast where I said I kind of blame much of my in real life situation why I'm not playing the game, but of course that's not all the truth. So I did not want to talk about my problems and in that guild for 30 minutes. So, but basically what Pohgren also said was kind of what happens to my guild as well. It was just too much bullshit, too much drama, and the guild more or less fell apart. And we already have transferred from one server to another server because 2 servers at launch, Blizzard, what the hell, click full. Thank you, Thorn.
Yeah.
So I mean, so I'm kind of surprised that, because you remember me saying these specific things, earlier as well, right? It's like when I was playing the game, right? But hearing Pohgren now as well, it's like, shit, this has, prolonged, to this day, this mentality, this not retailization, but this mindset, this efficiency matrix, right? So
yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised to hear this, but of course also sad. But yeah, it is what it is. So, but what kind of bothers me a bit is, like, you remember that even John Stats said not too long ago in your video, like 0.5% are super hardcore or world server first seekers, but people try to make this normalized. I mean,
yes.
On my first server, Gehennas on the EU, we had that alliance guild called what they called again, Apes.
Yeah.
And these guys cleared MC in greens, and I'm not even sure if they even had 40 men, but they tried to make this, like I said, 0.5% are super hardcore, but they try to make this normalized, and that is why I said earlier in the other TBC videos, like, clear MC too fast, you're an idiot; clear it too slow, you suck. So
totally the effect. So Harad is a bit of a different kind of beast compared to some of the other servers. It's very similar to that one because you had larger guilds on there. And it was exactly that. It was, look, you guys can't clear MC in an hour. What the hell's wrong with you? Are you a bunch of door humpers? And it's like, oh, okay, thanks. We're casual. Yeah. I don't want us to hear it.
That hurts morale.
It does.
Yeah.
And then people are like, well, do I really want to be in this guild that's getting made fun of on the server? I mean, like,
what's the point? What's the point in raiding? Yeah, exactly.
What's the point in raiding? Yeah. Like, I'm here to hang out with people and have fun and like loot. I was never a stickler about loot. I came in playing Enhancement Shaman. I knew I was going to be third rung on everything.
Yeah.
And it was even funnier is the fact that, like, you had people like, I can't believe you're getting out DPS by an Enhancement Shaman. I was also dying probably like 2 minutes into the fight.
Right.
So, if not even closer to that, because I'd get hella crits and then just pull aggro. The normalization of that elitism is what I think needs to change. I think it's something that, like, if you're not going to be in a guild that's like that, don't try to promote it. Don't get people who are going to try to promote it. Because it was really bad on a PvP server, and I would say a lot of people who wanted to be somebody went to PvP servers because that's where you prove that you're a real WoW player. You leveled up looking over your shoulder. You went and did world PvP. You stomped the enemy faction to the ground. You have all your PvP gear, like show off stuff, and then you can say you go and did a hardcore raid, and you're now a raider, and you have all these purples and epics, and it became something I don't think it should have become. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you want to play that way, more power to you. Like, there are groups, there are people, there are tons of them that want to go do this stuff. Yeah. So it's like, go for it, but it shouldn't be pushed on the general population.
No, you're right. And I think every person should evaluate what they want out of this game, right? What is it that you want out of this game? Do you want to be casual? Do you want to have this? Do you want to be the first, server or first guild in your server to clear this, and try to find the guild that best fits that? And a lot of times what happens is, and Melderon and I had to a lot of times that guilds either change over time as to what they want, or their original so we say, okay, originally we're going to be casual, and most people aren't happy with that, right? They want to go forward. Well, that ended up happening is the majority of people wanted to move forward, but there were still 3, 4, 5 people who were like, hey, I'm not getting world buffs. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Mm-hmm. Well, if the majority is now, as the guild leader, you have a, the majority is, you have to take care of the majority of your guild, right? So you have a responsibility to those people. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, over time, you have to either, and this is the worst part of the guild, you have to let people go because, like, listen, I know, like, I love everyone in my guild, but there are people who don't perform as well as other people. And it's like, that's the worst part of it. Is having, okay, say, listen, man, like, we gotta a lot of the time the person, we talk to the person and they okay, get your chance, get this and the other, but a lot of times it ends up like you're not performing on a level like that you should be, and we've had to unfortunately let people go because of that, and that sucks. It really does. And I wish I'm really not that good at doing this, and it's hard for me, but like when you have 35 other people that are unhappy because of one person's performance, or because of a certain, this, that, and the other, like, a lot of the times, sometimes, the problem will fix itself. A lot of times, a person, it sucks, right? Because a person feels like ostracized, that they're like, okay, like they're holding the guild back, and they end up saying, okay, I'm going to take a break or this, that, and the other. But a lot of times it's like, listen, like Melderon and I, like we'll try, like we'll get everything. We'll, okay, here's rotation. We'll help you with this, help you with that, help you with enchants, this, that, and the other. And then sometimes people just don't have the time to get the world buffs or this, that, and the other. And it's like over time we've really had to evaluate, what our guild wanted as a whole, and try to find people that had those same goals. And unfortunately, sometimes people don't have those same goals, and you have to, and I think, yes, it sucks to have to do that, but it's a reason why I think our guild survived to the point where it is now, because we were constantly looking out for the majority of the guild,
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. I just want to pitch in and say something important here about this very topic that we've been talking about. Very, very good, information, and spot on actually, both Pohgren and Defcamp there. And this is also one good reason why I feel like we really need to have this etiquette guide or video out there before TBC comes out. It's quite important, actually. I remember you guys mentioned it on our last TBC podcast. Like, we need this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if I should do another etiquette guide for
I
TBC.
think you should.
I think it's a big thing. I know a lot of people aren't going to I know some people are going to scoff at it, but I think it'd be a great idea.
I do too.
Yeah,
I think it's important.
So with World Buffs, we talked about this thing. I want to transition to TBC, but I want to talk about Classic coming to an end. I want to ask you guys a question. Do you think Classic is a game where it's like people are just ready to put it out of its misery? Like it's an old horse, broken leg, they're going to shoot it in the head, and it's like TBC is coming, this is our savior? Or do you think people are going to miss it? Like, are you guys happy that it's ending? Or are you guys like, I don't know. Like, for me, I'm excited for TBC because I know that my biggest issue with Classic is World Buffs, right? That's the thing that I hate about Classic WoW. There's also server imbalances. There's also a couple of things we need to talk about. But I am looking forward to... I want to do Nax. I want to see the content. I don't want to rush it. But at the same time, I'm ready. Do you guys feel the same way?
If I don't mind, yeah, I totally do feel like it a little bit. I hope they don't... because I don't know how they're going to obviously do the servers. This is something we're going to talk about. I hope they don't close Classic down completely. I still hope it's an option, because at the end of the day, there are things about Classic WoW that I still really enjoy, and especially the hardcore community, and if that can be something that can be kept alive by them having kept Classic servers separate from TBC servers, I think that'd be a great thing.
Yeah.
You can still do hardcore in TBC,
It's true, you can, but at the same time, I want to do Nax as well. Will it probably happen? Probably not. But also to have it as an option, because I talked about this a while ago when we did the Classic WoW radio with Dokken and Hypnotic and Thermophile. We talked about having this as a backup. It's like, I want to go play TBC. Yeah, I want to go play Wrath of the Lich King, because with the trend that's going around, we're going to probably get Wrath of the Lich King again. I can go do these things. But at the same time, it's like, I think I might find myself still coming back to Classic WoW at the end of the day, maybe. Or TBC will be probably the thing I'll come back to. I'm not sure yet. But I would hope it wouldn't completely go away. But I'm definitely happy to see a large portion of the community move on from it, if that sounds weird. Because it can leave those people that are hardcore enough fans of Classic, but are like their community people. They're the people that want to be there for that and understand that. Yep. And it's not the people looking to be world first anymore.
I don't think it will. Yeah, I think, So, VX, you go ahead and then I'll go.
This would be more or less a, kind of same thing that I also mentioned in our other TBC podcast. But long story short then is, even though that I prefer TBC myself, TBC is my favorite expansion, but even so, I do think that Blizzard will shoot themselves in the foot if they just say, like, screw Classic, just move on to TBC.
Yes.
Because if they do that, then they say screw TBC and move on to Wrath of the Lich King, for example. And so that's why I feel like it doesn't matter what I feel. I have to, also feel like I have a great understanding for people who have, fought 15 years for this game to happen, and finally we have it. Just because I prefer TBC more, I shouldn't be, bashing others like, what's wrong with you? Of course you want to go to TBC, right? Because I'm sure that people want to stay Classic for various reasons, right? Same as I am not so hyped with Wrath of the Lich King, for example. Announcement. So I mean, I prefer staying when TBC when we get Wrath of the Lich King, but that's another podcast. So I kind of see it in a both, respectful ways. Like they should really keep at least some servers, right? I'm not saying like keep 20 servers out there, but keep at least some servers, because I feel they will, shoot themselves in the foot, because if they don't, what will happen? I'm almost 100% certain that more private servers is going to pop up, and Blizzard do not want that. So yes, I am. Yeah. From my part, I love TBC, but I think that Classic should not, die, totally on its own, because the same way is like people have waited 15 years for this, but some people also waited all this time, promoted Classic just to get TBC, or even more, to get Wrath of the Lich King. So yes, absolutely.
So I'm sorry, were you done? I'm done. So I very much agree with you guys on this. But there's one thing that I am one of those people who, I love Classic. Classic is amazing, but TBC has always been my favorite. TBC is when I took the game really seriously. It's when I started doing Arena. It's when when Arena started. It's when I started raiding like really hardcore. And TBC for me is perfect. Like, I love Holy Priest. It's amazing. All that being said, one of the things that I was most looking forward for Classic was doing Nax. And Nax has been so hyped up, from when before, the game came out. Oh my God, you're going to be able to do Nax. All these people saying, oh, Nax is, the hardest. Only this many people ever did it. And I think, I can't wait for TBC to come out, but I think a lot of us are rushing past Nax. And there's a reason why, right? Because we all know in the back of our minds that it's going to be rolled over, and it's going to be easy, and it's not going to be what we thought it was going to be. And, guilds are going to be clearing it really easily. I mean, yeah, it is, 4 horsemen going to be a challenge? Sure, it is. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but it's not going to be the challenge that we thought it was going to be. And that's sad to me in a way, because I had only ever done Nax in Wrath. I had only, I had never done AQ 40 before until, because when I played back in the day, I didn't really raid. And on private servers, I only ever did up to BWL, or I did some AQ 20. So I was like, oh my God, Cthulhu's going to be this. And then Cthulhu ends up being like one of the easiest bosses in AQ 40. Like, it's a joke. Cthulhu is literally a joke. And, it's that whole mindset where it's like, I'm afraid that, Nax is going to be that joke again. And but it's just the reality, right? It's how it is, with the world buff meta being how it is and all that. But yes, I am very excited for TBC. And I do think there should be some servers laid out for Classic, like maybe 5 servers per, like 5 servers for all of them.
And one of them should be a hardcore server.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. That would be awesome.
But the thing is, do those servers start over, or are they Nax post servers, right? Because a lot of people are going to, be very bored if it's just a post Nax server. There's not going to be much to do, right? But on the same hand, it does allow people to go back and say, okay, I'll finally be able to do this raid. I'll be able to do this. And, if you're looking at it for those people who maybe didn't have the time, then maybe it would be good to have it as post-Nax. Or do you have some servers post-Nax and some servers start over fresh? That's my question, right? So, I don't want to see the community split up. I want to see most of the community in TBC, but I think you still have to allow there to be Classic servers, or else there's going to be private servers again for Classic. And Blizzard's going to have to compete with that. So that's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, spot on again. So, like I said, you screw Classic, you instantly screw TBC as well when Lich King comes. So, yeah.
Yep.
So, and I wanted to pitch in something very quickly here about, as we were talking about guilds, and I had something, already written up here that I almost forgot. And all these buffs and everything, is like, there are already so many content creators. I'm not gonna name them, you know me, but unless I really have to. But this guild talk, that I see some content creators say, like, oh, you have to play X class and Y spec, or you might not get a guild, or you don't get a raid spot. And I was like, can I have some of that dope you're smoking, please? I mean, it is so easy to find a guild by its own nowadays. I mean, we have TBC Discord channels, we have forums, etc. already. I can go in tonight and look on those things and try to get myself a guild for TBC. I don't do it because I do think it is still a bit too early, but just say things like that, like, oh, you're not going to get a guild, you're not going to get a raid if you don't do this or do that. Like, what? Seriously?
Dude, every class is great. Every class has its place in TBC.
It does.
Like,
that's definitely one thing I'm looking forward to. Sorry, Def, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
And I also want to point VX is that I don't think it's true that. So that's people are making that for TBC already, and I should say that one thing I'm definitely doing this time around is I'm still going to make guides, and I did this before too. I was never one of those people that was like, you have to be this many warriors. So. All the stuff I'm going to be putting out for TBC, none of it is going to try to promote a meta building experience, right? I want to do high-end guilds, high-end guides. I'm doing stuff with Egregious, doing stuff with, we're already planning this stuff out, but it's not going to be like, you have to have 5 shaman in your raid or you're horrible. You have to have, I'm not doing any of that, right? And I didn't really do it for Classic, but it's one of those things where I just do not want to continue. I don't want to build any more metas. I don't want to do, I want to provide information for people. That's good, and I think that's, you could argue that may build a meta, fine, but I'm not going to, primarily, this is not my primary goal is to do that, right? And that's something that I want to do, and that's something that I enjoy. And if people don't like that, they don't have to watch my stuff. That's just how I feel about it. But one thing I want to say about the guild point you made up is interesting, because even now, there's room for meme specs, quote unquote, in guilds, right? The content's easy enough that you could have an enhancement shaman, you could have a shadow priest, you could have a boomkin. Am I saying that you should have a 40-man boomkin raid? You could do that, but
that'd be cool.
It would be cool, right? There was a 40-man shaman raid, but the fact of the matter is anyone who says that you need 10 warriors, blah 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 blah, to get a raid down, it's just not true. It's 100%
look at Ellie
true.
right now, Melderon. Look how well.
Oh, dude,
Ellie's
blowing up, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, Ellie is performing above some mages and warlocks. It's the top. If I'm not mistaken, right, it has the potential to be the top.
On paper, Elemental Shaman could produce the most DPS out of any other caster, depending on the fight length and some other things as well. And they're actually outproducing warlocks on average right now in AQ40.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
The gear's that good.
Yeah.
Same people who say that rogues are trash when it so much depends on what kind of patch or what kind of how far into the game are we getting. Like they are like number 2 melee DPS or something, but they're portrayed as they are why should you bring them, right? They're just a PvP meme class,
For TBC, right? Yeah. So for TBC. It is kind of cool because, obviously one of the big problems is there's what are all these warriors going to do from Classic, right? You got all these warriors. You better tank, baby. Come on, we need the tanks now. So one thing that I love about TBC is the, I guess you could say the balance, right? It's not so much balance as it is that every class has its role, right? Mm-hmm. And, we're down to 25-man raids, which I think is the perfect amount of people for a raid, 20 to 25. And I'm looking forward to being potentially the only holy priest in my raid. I'm looking forward to, not having, 40 or 20 warriors in this and other. We're gonna try to bring as much of the mix as we can, and I think that's the great part about it is that every class brings something special. Whether it's resto druids or whether it's the shamans with their totems and bloodlust. And I love that about TBC. And the thing that makes me really happy about TBC is for me, there's a perfect amount of abilities mixed with, different things to do. I love the fact that, I can choose between, Prayer of Mending and Circle of Healing, Binding Heal, and all these really cool things that you get in TBC. It's for me, it's perfect. But yes, the casters do end up, being the top DPS here. Whereas in, vanilla, it was mostly the melee, right? So you have this little switch, which is nice. I think it's nice. But, the thing is, yes, rogues and warriors are going to be doing, not as good DPS as a lot of the casters, but you're still going to bring rogues, right? You're still going to bring warriors, DPS warriors. You still have room for everyone. And I think that, and when we were talking to Kevin not that long ago on GMA, and I agree with him, I couldn't agree with him more. He said he really hit his stride in TBC when it comes to class development and abilities and this and the other. And I couldn't agree with him more. I think TBC just really shines when it comes to still having that class identity and still having that fun of I think TBC Holy Priest is some of the most fun I've ever had healing. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, so TBC TBC coming out, I think, is a topic that we should talk about because we've been teasing it, and I think it was something we should do. Yeah. So the survey came out. And VX, maybe you could tell the audience if they haven't seen it what that survey kind of looked like originally.
Whoa, you kind of caught me on surprise there, because I don't have it up right now.
No. Yeah, Pohgren has it up. Okay, go ahead.
I came prepared because I thought we were going to talk about this. So VX, you sent it to me a little bit ago. Basically the options were to, we had, what was it, the 4 options, and then there was a 5th one that was none of the above. To continue playing my classic character on my existing server as it progresses to Burning Crusade expansion, with the option to transfer to a classic server that will never progress past 60. Then there's continue playing on my classic character on my existing server that'll progress to past 60. That'll never progress past 60, but with the option to transfer to a Burning Crusade server. Brand new character, 58 on a Burning Crusade server, and then starting at level 1, and then none of the above. And then there was the you guys talked about having like a 5th option as well down the road. But that's the original survey we got, which was a while ago. And I remember
talking. Was ranked most out of those? Did they have the results?
I don't remember.
No, they never posted the results.
Okay, that's right.
But yeah, so VX, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But so now that you have the information, go ahead. I know you wanted to talk about this.
So to make it easier and shorter, so we don't have to drag this out for another 30 minutes. This thing, like we did in the other podcast, but it was good talk in a way. You could basically sum it down to just 2 things. There were 4 options with a 5th, none above, right? Which we will get into. But generally, it's just 2 options. It's basically starting over, either from 58 or level 1, or transfer. Transfer here, transfer there. It's always transfer. It's not a word on copy, right? That I heard us talking about. I heard Asmongold, Willie. I heard so many people talking about copy, but there is not a single word there that says copy, right? So, and that is why I feel like we need this combined, thing. We need this 5th option, this none above more, because I feel that's where we have to go with this.
Yeah.
If I can, real quick, I want to chime in on this. Because I know we guys talked about length, the economy being a big thing that could be jacked up depending on what happens here.
Right.
Having the ability to transfer all of that gold. But here's the problem. That existed in original TBC.
Exactly.
That existed, and it's if they transfer again, it'll just be a rinse of the same.
100%.
I was thinking about what the 5th option could be myself, and like what my 5th option was for me if I was to play. I like the idea of still having classic servers. I like the idea of transferring that power base that exists right now on classic servers over. That's all those 60s that people have been building up, all of that gold, all of that gear. It allows people to start over in classic and restart that world.
Yes, correct.
Which is great.
I agree with you there.
I think that's inevitable that we need to do. Basically, option 1 is basically the option for me because it's the most natural progression and still gives us the old servers. There could be a minor tweak to it, which could be something along the lines of like you have a cap of characters you can transfer, maybe 1 or 2, instead of like, oh look, I have 10 60s ready to go. To I have all these bots that I used to farm. And we could talk about botting too because that was another thing I wanted to bring up.
Oh god, yeah.
Because there's something Blizzard can implement that's really easy, and they just haven't done it yet. And I hope they implement it in TBC. But that's kind of my spiel. I think the best option really is option 1. Unless you start if you try to start over in any way on either platform, somebody's going to be mad. And it's a really tough rub. But go ahead, Defcamp.
No, I'm just saying, I'm so passionate about this, and I'm so glad you guys agree because
alone.
I, for one, would riot if they told me that my Defcamp was gone. I would shit myself and probably throw it at them.
I was expecting that.
I, for one, I mean, like, what is the point of an MMORPG if not to progress your character, right? And listen, I love the idea of transferring. I think that's a great thing. And like, Pohgren, just like you said, and I brought this up and everyone was like, no, but everyone knew. Like, yes, everyone knew that TBC was coming out back in the day. Everyone knew that I should probably, get as much gold as I can for when the expansion comes out. Like, yes, we know how much things are going to cost. We have a little bit. So, okay, maybe if you want to put a little bit of a cap on the gold, so people can't bring like a crazy amount of gold, that's fine. But listen, people knew that TBC was coming back out in the day, and like, yes, Hellfire Peninsula is going to be a shit show when we first get there, and it was back then, and that's the fun of it, right? And I think, to say, I was so afraid that a lot of people who weren't that invested in the game, if they say like there's people who like, never got to 60, or they have a 60 and they didn't really raid, those people are gonna be like, oh yeah, fuck it, let's start over. I don't care. My character has nothing to really bring over, so fuck it, let's just start over. And I was worried that there was going to be a lot of people like that, because there are a lot of casual players who may have not spent the time that Melderon and I and you guys have. But to say like, yeah, let's just start over and start from scratch and do this, would it solve some problems? Maybe. I think in the long run it would end up just being the same thing after just a couple months. I think the main things to do here is to do the transfer and do it right. Make a cap on maybe how many, if we're transferring, say, to a new server or whatever, put a cap on how many Horde there can be on that server to Alliance. Don't make it 99% Horde to 1% Alliance. Like, this is a chance to fix those mistakes. This is a chance to fix those things. Maybe make the servers a little bit smaller. Maybe make more of them, right? So we don't have these massive giant servers that we do now, so we don't have to worry about layering and all this. I think the thing is, like, Blizzard really has a chance here to fix this shit, to do it right, to maybe make more servers, to make it less populated, so we don't have to worry about layering, we don't have to worry about all this crazy shit, to put caps on how many people can be Horde versus Alliance. Because the thing is, people always say, oh yeah, everyone's going to be Horde because of Blood Elves, this and other, but Alliance have some really good racials for PvP. You have Chastise as a priest, you have Perception as a human. I think it's going to be a good mix. Yes, there are going to be a lot of people who want to play Blood Elf for Arcane Tour and this and the other, but this is our chance to try to fix things and put it in the right fucking way that it should be.
Exactly. I have a question. I need to ask you, Defcamp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we talking about new, fresh TBC servers, or just progressing the servers as they are as this transfer?
That's where I'm still kind of. I think if we made new servers, it would allow us to try to fix the problem that we have right now with the servers, because there are so many servers that are unbalanced, right? So I think if we made new servers, made more of them, with a lower pop than there is now, we would have a much better scenario in TBC than we do in Vanilla, in Classic right now.
If I can, it's absolutely. I'm gonna kind of just reverberate this, but you're absolutely correct, because then it allows just so Blizzard can understand, because there's something else that was pointed out by a content creator a little while ago. I can't remember his name, but game developers look at players as a really good source of pointing out a problem, but never having the solution. Where this is that case of having that solution, because this allows, what they need to do also is open up for people to get off of PvP or PvE servers and vice versa.
Yes.
So like the moment you go to do this transfer, you have the option, because this is what happened in the original TBC. There was a list of servers you could transfer from and then go to. So I went from Illidan in TBC to a server called Haramarash that's no longer there. I don't think it's not even a server anymore. And it was a bad move by us because the server died really quick. But the option to be able to transfer and have that all the gates open up to you, so you can go if you want a faction change, if you want a race change, if you want to. It's the same thing. Sorry. Or if you want to server transfer to different types of servers, because right now it's locked. I can't. I have a PV. I was a bit of an idiot, but at the same time, I really did enjoy. I went and raided with D-Dark on Mancreek. I went from PvP to PvE. I now am locked to PvE. I cannot transfer this 60 that I have all this gear on, because I would have brought it over to Scarum and I would have been doing dungeons and stuff with you guys for fun.
Yeah, that's so annoying.
It is, but I'm working on it. I don't. It's not a rush for me. This game is about talking to people, the community, and leveling in a lot of cases too. That's what 70% of the game.
And that's why this is so important. Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, Pohgren. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I hope Blizzard listens to this, because we're giving a solution right now, and this is something like, Omar, please.
Yeah, so
hear us.
Kevin actually talked about this when we talked to him. He said the best way to do this is an opt-in, right? So you'd opt in. Say you want to go to TBC, and then they go from there, right? So that's the only thing that I'm worried about is names, and I know that sounds like a really petty thing to worry about, but it's actually a real problem, right? So it's a data problem. It's not actually an issue with like people's ego.
Yeah.
If you have two individuals with the same name, how do you handle that? So the way they handle it in retail is because servers don't really exist anymore. So you have like X on X server, right, and then Y on Y server. They may have the same name, but it says their server next to it. You can't do that in TBC. So I don't think they have the capability of dealing with that yet. So I'm wondering how they're going to handle that, because they're going to have to start fresh servers, I think, because of the issues how horrible the servers are balanced right now. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. So if you have like Melderon go to, TBC server 1, then there's another Melderon going to TBC server 1, how are you going to handle that, right?
So, well, I'm going to jokingly say you take the Melderon who has the more whoever got to the highest place in rating and all that.
Well, Blizzard would never do that.
I know.
Yeah.
It's too intricate. It's too intricate. But
yeah.
It's also they have that motto, leave no one behind, right? They don't believe in that. You can't. Either
they might have to do name reservations again. You might have to reserve your name like they did before.
And I think we need a gold cap, guys.
Yeah.
I think we need a gold cap.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly going to be a necessary evil right now.
Oh yeah. I think maybe whatever how many, but there should be a cap
10,
to a certain extent. Yeah, 10,000. Yeah.
I think that was not the original cap, but it's a healthy cap.
Mm-hmm.
But with botting, because that makes things worse, because obviously there's bots on the servers farming up materials that then put it on the auction house and inflate costs.
Mm-hmm.
I think what Blizzard needs to do is use their botting systems they have right now. I know with Classic it was the idea that you could get away with it more because the old programming, what have you, exploits. But I have seen firsthand the botting experience from my brother, who was he got I think a 6-month ban from the game. Decided to bot his character around and a couple other multi-boxing. But it was the moment he implemented it got caught. What they do is they do a random cycle system, basically, that hits the server. It's on they don't have a specific time frame when they go ahead and do it. It is, it could happen on a Monday, it can happen on a Tuesday, it can happen on a Sunday. But literally, if anybody gets caught in it, bans go out. Like either permanent bans, year bans, or 6 months, depending on the offense of the account. And then you have accounts getting banned. Okay, people can just go and open up new accounts and start doing it, but it solves an issue. Not well, but they could take what they already have. And if they implemented it, I know they already banned 72,000 accounts a couple months ago, right?
Yeah.
If they had a system in place that could actually handle the botting issue, because a lot of times botters are trying to make things look more realistic. Yes. But we all know when we see a bot.
100%.
There's way to mess
with the message the other day that I got one, so I was happy about that. Yeah.
Takes the GM like a second to notice it's a bot.
Yeah.
If there would be any.
If there's a way to implement what they already got, I think they need to do it, because that'll also help with all of this too. Because of course people are going to transfer bots over, and they're going to start over again, and we're going to have the same inflation issues that we do right now. Exactly. Don't get me wrong, certain items are going to cost a lot because they're important to endgame, but I look at the auction house in Scarum, and I saw things for over 12 grand, and I'm like, are we playing retail right now? Come on, people.
Yeah.
So before we go deeper into this part of things, I feel like I want to close up this TBC survey update. As you know, we talked about this early in our previous video, but I feel we have to talk a bit more on it, because every of these options that we have already spoken about, it comes with a red flag in each of them actually, and copy or not, transfer or not. Like, for example, transfer characters, it will make classic servers lose a lot of their 60s. So, I do agree with what Pohgren just said. There is a merit to that, and there's another counter thing to that. That will make a lot of people. How should I put it? Classic servers will lose a lot of their level 60s, and will be even more dead servers on their hands. So, it can go both ways, right? So I'm not saying that you're wrong.
No.
You make a great argument there. I'm just saying, there is another, side of the coin as well. Same as, and this is something when Defcamp's gonna do a 360 flip backward out of joy when I say, I'm actually retracted from starting from level 1. So, yeah. I did say, it was not the best choice. I just said, it has merit, and I gave my honest opinions, why it could be, I could have done it. It's Blizzard told me, Cosmos, you need to level up for level 1 again. All right.
Would you feel different, though, if you had a level 60 character that had, that's what I'm saying.
Hand rag.
If you had hand and rag, if you got to
High Warlord.
If you got the Black Raji War Tank, I can't help but say you would feel differently.
Yeah, too much time invested on a classic tool will be wasted. So yes, I will. If anyone thought that I was just saying Cosmos option is number, that one that you saw for level 1, I just said there is some merit why it could work, right? But
Yes.
I never said that it was like the best choice, right? Because I distinctly remember I said like there are plus and minus with each of them, right? So, but I will say as of an announcement and clarification here, like I retracted my mindset on that. So yeah, not start from one is what not should be main thing on mainstream. So
Yeah.
And I also want to say something else that I have written down here when we're talking about this. Many content creators just saying their thing, I hear very little thing combined. They do their own videos, own podcasts, asking for comments, and that's it. And I've listened to those podcasters all from 300 subs people up to 300Ks, like Asmongold, for example, right? I've listened to like 30 different people. People vote on polls, and then people just make up their mind and press 1 or 4 options, like 1 to 4 options and done. When you really need to talk about, as I would call it, a 5th option, aka none from the above, as Blizzard pointed out to us, and few have said it, right? I mean, the topics are endless. Copy, transfer, gold cap, no gold, only bot gear items follows with you, new servers, fresh servers, let Alliance have seal of blood, like Asmongold said. I mean, the topics are endless.
No.
So
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
No seal of blood for the Alliance. Not the Alliance. That's just not how the game works. No changes.
Exactly.
So,
Here's the thing about that, VX. I think honestly, right now, what Blizzard, if I was Blizzard, this is what I would think. But they've gotten so much different feedback, just like stuff like what we're talking about. I think that those 4 options are no longer going to be what we get. I think we're going to get a mixed match of 1, 2, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I think it's because exactly. Like I think because so many of us have brought up these points and brought up these things and said this, and maybe we need to say more, like you're saying. But I think the fact is that Blizzard put out that information, and the information they're getting back is a hodgepodge of this, that, 1, 4, 2, 3. You know what I mean? And a lot of 5s, a lot of none of the aboves. And what Blizzard has to do here now is look deeper and see, okay, what are these things that people are bringing up? They're bringing up the gold cap. They're bringing up the server, cap, and having more Horde, 2 alliances, and another. And hopefully, what we get is none of the above, and something closer to like what we're talking about here, right? And I think that's probably going to be what's going to happen. I doubt we're going to get any one of those 4 exactly how it says. I would put money on it that we're going to get something like a similar to one of those, but with some caveats.
Well, I think that's primarily because that was a very poorly constructed survey.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
In my opinion. Yeah. I mean, like, the options were, like, so vague and not all-encompassing, right? Like, they should have said the ability to opt in and transfer your character to a TBC server, or, while you have the option of leaving some of your characters on a class, something a little bit more, I don't know, define the parameters, right? Like, like, the parameters are not defined at all. So, I don't know. I know they were trying to get, like, a brief kind of, like, I think they were just trying to see how much interest there was in TBC,
That's a good point.
Well, that's not true, because they only gave it to a very small amount of people, too. So that's...
I caught the survey.
Yeah. So, but like, I think it was only, like, 1% of the active population or something like that.
Oh, see, I thought everyone got the survey.
No.
Oh, okay.
So
it wasn't literally just a test.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest problems that Blizzard does, though. Like, and
they have horrible market research.
Melderon and I were screaming at the devs before Classic came out to say, guys, don't just go what you're getting off these surveys, because I guarantee you, like 1% of the people are doing these surveys. Like, we were trying to say, guys, there's not enough servers. They were like, well, we have to go based on the evidence that we got. But the evidence that you get is so limited. Like, it's so small, because most people are going on with their day. It's like the 1% of people who follow all the shit like we do. All the news posts, all the this, that, and the other. A lot of other people just log in, play WoW, and then log off and don't think another thing of it until they log back in. And that's what they have to remember, is that they might get these numbers that, oh yeah, these people logged on the beta, and this many people did that, and this many active players. But the fact of the matter is that there's going to be exponentially more people than that logging in, especially when TBC first comes out. So yes, maybe make more servers, have a way lower population cap, so that if down the line things happen where you have to maybe merge 2 PvE servers or something like that. And I know there's problems with names and this and other, but I think, like I said, Melderon, if we I'd be willing to try to, okay, give me another time where we have to log in and try to reserve my name again for TBC. I don't care. I'll do that. Like whatever it takes to fix the problem that we have now, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
I just.
No, go ahead. I'm just agreeing.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to talk to Melderon here directly, actually, as a scientist, as somebody who gathered data and for research and everything like that, and even myself through college when I was doing my own research papers, it is not as simple as, oh, look, I'm going to talk to 10 people and therefore I have all the information I need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, you need data, and if Blizzard's not willing to at least do 50% of the population, you're not going to get any information out of it.
Right. So there, in statistical theory, there's this theoretical understanding of everybody, right? And that's like the actual mean, the actual, like, this is a construct in the mind. It isn't really a thing. But if you were able to sample everyone in the world, right, that's the true mean. And what you do in statistics is you can't do that, so you get a subsample and you predict how the whole population would do. But the size of that subsample is directly proportional to how accurate that estimate is of the true mean, right? Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is like they're not doing an accurate sample size. They're doing these like very small. The beta was closed. They based their decisions on a closed beta, invite only beta. That isn't indicative of your population. It's not.
You remember when I said during that podcast that many of my friends actually waited like until the last day before they made their characters. Sure, they didn't get their names, perhaps they wanted at the first, but like I said, if I wanted content from all those stress tests and betas and pay for sub and hope to get an invite, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like, why should I do that when I could just watch you guys, for example, making a... Sure, I'm not playing it myself, but I could just watch you guys or Pohgren or wherever.
Wow,
right?
I didn't get it. Yeah, I watched these two as well. I helped Melderon by logging into another, like, into a private server, getting the data for him.
You guys helped out a lot, though. You guys helped out a lot. A lot of people helped out with, like, looking at research and, like, we would get the data and you guys would go through it. And that was really cool. I'm glad that, I understand, yes, giving it to streamers and that is good because the community gets to watch it and all this, that, and other. But at the same time, I feel like one thing Blizzard could always do better is outreach. Blizzard can definitely reach more people and try to get more people involved. And listen, I think the guys on the dev team did a great job, Omar and Orlando, those guys. Mm-hmm. But I think they need more help. I think they need more help. I think they need more people on the team. TBC, like there's so many possibilities with, like, if they wanted to do TBC with a 2.1 launch to make it to differentiate from every other private server, they probably could do that, right? And look how awesome it would make Arena. So every new patch where it's not like we're gonna have Warrior and Druid's gonna be top 2v2 all of TBC. Well, listen, if we have a 2.2 to a 2.2, 2.1 to 2.2 and so forth, where the patches go on, we will have different metas. You will have different things. The game will feel alive. And honestly, to do that, it's going to take time, money, and people. So I doubt that's going to happen. We're probably going to get a 2.4.3 patch progression. We're probably going to get the time gated content, which is good. But the one thing that back in the day, like when Kara first came out, a lot of that gear was shit. A lot of the gear was really bad, and it made those heroics and it made those raids so much harder because the gear wasn't as good. But if we get the gear that was available at 2.4.3 with all the talents and all this, it's going to go just to make it that much easier. And that's one thing that maybe Blizzard could do to differentiate themselves from the private servers, to do something that has never been done before. I think that would be amazing. But is it going to happen? Probably not.
But at least this time around, Blizzard, I mean, we can sit here and talk about, like, we have many questions that still has to be answered and really important questions, but still, at least Blizzard are doing one thing right here, and I give credit where credit is due, right? So I'm not defending Blizzard like that, but I'll say this, at least they gave us the survey before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they could have just, made up their mind already and said, like, well, we're gonna do TBC, and this is what you get done.
Absolutely.
At least they asked us beforehand. So, and I hope they haven't determined that what it's gonna be, right? Because if not, I fear that people will sit in their greedy corners with a locked, predetermined mindset. It's like, this is what I want. It's like because most people that I see. I mean, it was 3 months ago, only 3 months ago, but in that short period of time, I've already spoken to a lot of people and seen comments, you know, I mean, 3 months is quite a long if you do it every day. So most people I see are like clicking a poll and maybe write one sentence and that's it, you know. It's no debate, no discussion. Why do you want that? Could it be something better, you know? People just do not so much effort, and that's why I feel like people like us, like content creators, well, I'm not calling myself content creators, at least not yet in that sense, but yeah, things that we do need to talk about. So yeah.
What would be awesome is one of two things. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, VX. Were you done?
No, I have just one more thing. What we can also agree on, I think Melderon said this, and that was actually spot on also, it's like many people that I've been checking out these comments, and myself, felt like this survey was so, how should I put it in plain English? It was pretty vague, right? It was so much that was unanswered questions, like it's too many question marks, like, yeah, we got 4 options, but yeah, it was kind of vague in many eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's why we are sitting here and done. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, you're good. I get a little jump the gun a little bit sometimes when I think, because it literally just goes brain to mouth instead of a filter.
Same here, brother. Yeah, I know what that's like. Yeah.
I'm getting used to it. Yeah.
Okay, so what I was going to say is what I wish Blizzard would do is one of two things. Either they would allow developers to come talk to you guys like you, get on to, like, you know, we guys have talked to the older developers at this point, Kevin Jordan and John Stats, thank you. But like, if we could pull in Omar for a discussion that you guys might have to pull some sort of like, hey, we're gonna have scripted questions, so that way Blizzard can approve them, because that's normally what you have to do for something like that, because you're talking to somebody who's actively developing things. There's the terms. What's the word I'm looking for here? That you can't talk. Disclosure.
Disclosure. Yeah,
disclosures. There's certain things that can and cannot talk about because legal reasons. But having somebody like that on, and then having Blizzard have to have that on a spotlight, allows people to ask those questions that then Blizzard can be like, hey, is this actually what people are thinking about right now? Because you guys are the boots on the ground. We're the boots on the ground, I should say. All of us are.
Yeah.
And being able to be pulled in and ask those questions even in chat, and then have you guys pull them to the developers as our voice, as our mouthpiece, would be great. That, or they have to start doing some sort of implementing a voting system that's similar to old school RuneScape. They have to do it differently, obviously, because then you can have like PvP players dicking over PvE players, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
But an active pulse system, other than a survey they did like what, I don't know, 6 months ago now, and they only got 1% of the population. If they can do a vote system that allows us to actually or a survey system like this that allows them to take a pulse constantly, hopefully monthly as we get up to the server launches. Like, I would say in December, if they started doing it in December and we started getting more blue posts, which is kind of similar to what we got for Classic WoW, all those months leading up to it, we had posts of information and how they're doing stuff. And I remember logging on constantly and looking for blue posts for you guys. And then for myself, just be like, hey, I have to spread this information out now.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm done. That was it. That was all I had. It was like they have to do one of those two things.
Yes, and I couldn't agree with you more. And I know a lot of people probably sitting here like, oh, why do streamers get to talk to the devs and this and another? And like, yeah, I understand that point of view. Like, these people. But the thing is that streamers and content creators, they hear a lot of what their fans are saying. So whether through comments, whether through talking like this, or whether through having a show like this and then people comment and stuff like that. So a good thing would be like say someone was able to sit down or just talk to Omar and say, hey, listen, Omar, we understand these are some of the problems. We have some solutions that maybe you guys haven't thought of yet. And here they are. Here's A, B, C, and D. I think the community does definitely think that there's an issue with the servers being imbalanced. And yes, do I benefit playing on a server with 99% Horde? I do. But it's not fair. It shouldn't be that way. Like, and actually, I do miss the world PvP and all these things. So have people that you think that are unbiased, that can give you a good opinion, that have, because I feel like Blizzard doesn't do enough to get the pulse of what's going on, or if they do, they think they do, but they don't, right? Yeah. So go, JL Brack, you think you know what the players are thinking, but you don't, okay?
Yeah. No. It's actually, you think you do, but you queue.
Yeah.
Especially for us in the EU.
Yeah.
I think you do BQ like that.
I think that would be really, interesting if they were to do, like I said, it doesn't have to be on a video. It doesn't have to be streamed. It could just be a conversation between some content creators and the devs and say, hey, listen, these are some problems that we think are going on, and here's some solutions. What's the harm in that? You know what I mean?
You guys, if you guys have the feelers out there, do it. I mean, it's a simple. It should be honestly as simple as it was for me and VX to reach out to you guys and be like, hey, let's schedule this.
Yeah,
it should be.
It should be. I know it's not. I know there's a lot of legality that goes into it, and there's a lot of stuff about different things that they cannot talk about on live streams and stuff like that.
And it's not their fault as much as it is. The thing is, I'm sure Omar and all that would love to do that, but they have to worry about what are their bosses going to say if that happens.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's the problem. I think
has
there's
to get,
too much. Yeah.
But you know how the presidents do? They do those town hall meetings. That'd be great. Every once in a while, have a town hall meeting, right? Be like, hey, ask me anything. I'm gonna be live for an hour. It's a great way to engage your community, and it's going to make more people want to play your game. It takes an hour. You literally set up a stream. You have the guys go on the stream.
It doesn't have to be a stream. It could just be,
or it could be a video or whatever. It doesn't have to be a stream, but I think streaming is the most effective way of doing it, right?
Yeah.
Blizzard should have their own streaming channel. I don't know if they do or not, but they should.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay, and they should put them on there and be like, "Hey guys, the classic dev team, he's here for an hour. They want to talk to you."
Yeah, they do it for retail with with
exactly
Ian
with Ian. With the God, but it's like
right.
it's simple, right? Simple marketing. It's simple marketing.
Let me just say this. So when we were talking to Kevin put out a good point. He's like, back then we didn't do that, right? Because, and here's why though. So back then the developers were off on their own. It was like no one knew the names of the developers. No one knew that. But nowadays they have to do that. You know why? Because we lost the trust in Blizzard. We lost the trust that they were doing what was best for the community, and we were doing what we think is right. So back in the day, when Vanilla came out, there were some people who didn't agree with this, and they posted on the forums. But for the most part, the trust was there. There was a trust between the developers and the player base that they were doing what they think is best for the players. Now, the trust is gone because we think they're just doing what is best for their pockets.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the issue. And that's why things like that are probably needed nowadays, whereas back then they weren't.
I agree.
I also agree. Yeah. Echo chamber agreement here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I also want to say something also, so people don't think like we just sit there and bitching and being ranting. But I have to say this: my goal. I can only speak for my part at the moment, but I think it's safe to say that it goes for all of us who are doing this. We are not doing this for us. We're doing this for the game, right? For the community. Just like Classic, it's not a race; it's a marathon. So we are in this together. So my goal with this is to bring this combined option or solution or what the heck you want to call it with the community to the surface, because I already fear that. If not, if I make a post on the forums right now or after this, I might get, the classic things like, dude, we're done talking about this already. People have voted on polls already, and X option is best. Get out of here. Look on the result, buddy, and things of that nature. So there's little time to lose, especially if we're getting it in May, launch. I just want to say that. So
100%.
That's my goal. Yeah. Bring this up to the surface.
But I think the
iron is hot.
Yeah, no, it is a hot topic, and I think TBC is going to be a success. I think it's going to be more of a success for Classic because of things like world buffs, because of things like more interaction on a daily basis with the game, because of things like class balancing improvements, because of things like excellent endgame content. The raids are so well designed. The environments are so well designed. I think it's a better game. Daily engagement. That's what I meant by daily engagement. You can get involved on a daily basis, right? You have arena, you have daily quests, you have heroic dungeons you can run with your friends. You have all these things that are relevant. It's more all friendly, I think, as well, except for attunement processes. But, but I think it's going to be a great game regardless. But I think it's really important to just discuss how it should be implemented. But I do want to transition because Pohgren brought up a great point. I think we should talk about and. At some point, this is going to end, right? All things come to an end, and we're going to get to probably Wrath, and then we'll be in this stagnant probably thing, right? It'll be like there'll probably be all 3 versions of the game available to people. I hope that's how they do it. However, what's next? What's the next challenge? What's the next MMORPG? What's next? And for me, it's not retail. So, in the news recently, Pohgren brought this up, and this is a really great point. Mike Morhaime started his own game company.
Dreamhaven.
Dreamhaven, yeah.
It's Dreamhaven, and then he's got 2 publishers as well underneath him as well. This is all coming out of his pocket, it seems like, because Morhaime is sticky icky rich.
Yeah.
No, he borrowed from his grandma again, like he did for Blizzard. Remember?
Yeah.
But Dreamhaven, here, I'm going to throw you guys a link real quick. You guys can check out the website here. They are focusing on game production. Obviously, Morhaime is not just grabbed himself. There are, like, I don't know, 15 ex-devs, and then a bunch of people that are jumping ship right now from Blizzard.
Well, yes.
Wow.
It's a little scary, because in the mindset of, this guy is like, hey, look, I was Blizzard. You want to fight somebody? Fight me.
Yeah.
Like, and it's going to be really interesting to see what comes out of this. Obviously, there's probably not going to be anything to come out of it for the next 2-3 years. But let's say they decide to launch the next World of Warcraft. They launch WoW 2, the one thing that a lot of people will probably have been asking for at this point, because the game itself is over homogenized. They don't look to develop the character classes anymore. They just go, you're a god, here you go, here's your things.
Ooh, dude, they got Eric Dodds? Holy shit.
Yeah, Eric Dodds. And here's the thing, too, right? People don't realize this, but like Mike Morhaime was such an instrumental part of Blizzard, and I think he is one of the biggest reasons why we have the success of WoW that we did back in the day. Mike Morhaime's a great guy. In his statement that you read, you will very much see, you can read between the lines, that he is saying that there was a lot of things that he was unhappy with how Blizzard was being run, how deadlines were more important than game development, how people having their hands in the money, all this, that, the other, really made the game fall apart. And Mike Morhaime, I think we all know, left, I think because he didn't like the direction that things were going in Blizzard. If there is a chance for things to be bright in the future, where obviously, we have games looking in the future, like, there's other MMOs that we're looking at that could be good and all that. But Mike Morhaime, one of the most creative brains of Blizzard, I think that this could be one of the best things for gaming in a long time that we've seen happen. I hope them the best. I really feel like they have some amazing minds, and I hope they get more. But I'm really excited about this, and I think you guys are too. I'm sure you guys are.
Yeah.
Excited does not put words into it. It's nuts.
Mm-hmm. It could be what we've been looking for a very long time. We talked about this for a long time. We said, what we need is a small rogue group of Blizzards to go out and fucking create their own. We said this many times in many podcasts and discussions, right? And it's happening now. It's going to take some time, right? It's going to be a big lag phase, I think, before we see anything that's really optimal coming out of the studio. But, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pohgren, the 2 other identities he picked up, they're like tabletop game companies, right? Or card game companies? Yeah.
I think it was tabletop specifically. I don't know. I have to do some more research myself.
Yeah.
Bellular goes into a video I linked here for you guys to take a look at. That's like 39 minutes long. That goes over all of it.
Mm-hmm.
The downside, there's a fear. There's a couple things that I want to touch on real quick that are really important with this. First off, he's not just opening a studio. He's opening a studio in Anaheim.
Yes. Yeah.
He's opening it up on Blizzard's doorstep. He's opening a new studio. You're going to see a brain drain from Blizzard Entertainment. Blizzard Entertainment may also, or Blizzard Activision, whatever you want to call them now. We may also have an issue where, game support may get worse for us as classic WoW players, and even World of Warcraft players in general. Or this makes Blizzard wise up. This makes Activision realize, okay, fine, we messed up. Let's continue working better. That's at least a hope of mine.
Yeah.
But this is the development that I think a lot of us have been waiting to hear for a long time. Like you said, this is something that's needed to happen, and we'll see how well it works. But go ahead, BX.
Yeah, classic. Something that I also wanted to say, and you kind of stole my argument because it was very well said. Because that is also my hopes, right? That the developers, not just Blizzard, but developers in general, because today it feels like MMO is kind of a niche, gaming genre. It's like it's too much risk, and takes a long time to do and everything. But I hope that Classic has like rekindled some of the old school mindset and tabletop mindset. Like, yeah, it works. Old school RuneScape works. I mean, EverQuest works. Dark Shadows Camelot. People still talk about that. EverQuest, people start to talk about that, I mean, people today, so long ago, talking about these games, even for so long time, because, they were so good, and there is a reason why. And Classic has been a huge success. They, like, doubled their subscriber numbers, and just like Defcamp said, like, the amount of people that came back to retail just because of Classic. I mean, so I really hope that they will just have this rekindled mindset about, like, old school thinking doesn't have to be, best, bad, in its own. So for me, a good game is not just, graphics, right? Flashy spells flying, across your screens. It's the game systems and, the heart of it, the music, the atmosphere, the lore, everything must, fit together, Yeah. It's not just flashy graphics or something.
I want to make. I just want to make something clear real quick. Melderon and I don't want to speak for Melderon, but I know for a fact, like, because a lot of people hear us bashing, Blizzard and all this all the time. I in no way hate Blizzard. I hope 100% that they can turn things around. Like, I am rooting for Blizzard. I want to see them succeed. I really do. Just because, all these things that happened over the last few years, all the down things that have happened, with Blizzard, with the games and all that, doesn't mean that I've lost, all hope in them. I still have hope that they can turn things around. There are people that work there that I consider friends, right? I have a fear, though, that, things, aren't going right because, things like how Activision Blizzard has been working and the deadlines that they worry about and how they've been treating some of their employees, and I've heard things positive and negative about how they treat their employees. But when it comes to, like, what I think personally about Blizzard, I think that there are some fundamental flaws that they have in their way of thinking. I think that they worry too much about the money and getting deadlines and things like that than the player base. And I think this right here could be a turnaround of that, of where Mike Morhaime and these guys care, number one, first and foremost, about the games, the players, and the trust, and they get that back. And like you said, Pohgren, I really hope that opens Blizzard's eyes to say, hey, let's worry about the trust first. Let's get the trust back between us and the community. And that's what I hope to see out of this.
And right before we got into this, the one thing I was going to bring up is Blizzard's got to realize that as we get into these other servers, think about it, like 6 million people was I think the highest for Classic WoW for like the original vanilla experience, and then it went on to like somewhere in the 8,000s for TBC, and then it crested at 11 million. Thank you, millions. Yeah. I'm speaking in millions here. So it's 6 million, then 8 million, and then like 11 million in Wrath of the Lich King. That player base that played Wrath of the Lich King, they might come back a little bit. Not the full numbers. I don't think we got close to it, but I think we got pushed in that direction. And as they release TBC, people are going to be like, "Oh, I played TBC. I'll try it out again," because there's a larger player base that was there. The Wrath of the Lich King hits, and then like a majority of my friends I played the game would be like, "Yeah, I'll play." Yeah. And I got I know 20 people I can point to right now that'd be like, "Wrath of the Lich King's out, I'm in." Yeah. Whereas before with Classic, I had like maybe 2 people who are like, "Oh yeah, Classic sounds fun."
Yeah.
It's going to be exponentially bigger, I think. And it's going to be one of those things where, I think TBC is going to be one of those games where it's going to hook people in even more than Classic because of the things like Arena, things like the daily quests, things like the the flying mounts you can get, all these things that you can do to kind of better your experience and grind out. It's more of a true MMO than Classic is in a lot of ways, because Classic is limited in what you can do in it, really. So I think you're right. I think you're going to see, and then Wrath is a fan favorite because of Arthas and because of all these things. To me, it wasn't the best because of I have issues with the game design in Wrath, but I'm still going to play it. Of course, it's still ages better than what's out right now. So I'm still going to play it.
I'm going to hard cut a Cataclysm. I'm just going to be like,
Yeah. I had fun in the early Cataclysm, for sure. But yeah, That's when things
Right,
definitely turned.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize just how big Arena is going to be for the game.
Oh my god, I think I said this to you guys on. I don't know if you guys saw this on chat, but like having arenas again, and I hope Blizzard, because they do the arena championships for BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Like they have a TBC arena section.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, and that's the thing. I think there's going to be so many people. Like a lot of the big PvPers nowadays are going to want to play. Because these were the glory days. Like, right? I remember when I first started. I started arena very early in TBC, and like it was even before 3v. Like 2v2 was king when I started. Seasons 1 and 2 were all about 2v2, and I still love 2v2. But I'm interested to see like is 2v2 going to be big again, or is it all going to be about 3v3 and like I just can't wait to play. It has me thinking about like, I love my priest so much. I love discipline in 2v2 or even in 3v3 because you get to be a lot more offensive. You get to, but playing rogue in arena is some of the most fun I had in my entire WoW career. And like, I want to do so many different things. I want to have a rogue in arena. I want to have a, I want to have my priest. I want to do shadow as well. I want to go. I want to do Ret Pally and shaman with Melderon. Do Ret Resto with pop wings, drop down Wind Fury Totem, and pop Bloodlust and just one shot people. There's so many different things I want to do, dude. And like, and an arena is going to be huge for me. And I can't. Yeah.
So sorry.
It's just so different than the system that we have now. People are so sick of trying to rank up to get to rank 13 and all the rank 14, and it's like that is completely done away with. And I love the PvP system, the TBC. I just can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait for Arena too. Considering how the mindset is in Classic, with the efficiency matrix and everything, I do remember back in the days when I was playing TBC, I was 25 in Videl after all. That old bull, most were like 10 and 15 years old, so yeah. But if I remember correctly, there were one big problem with this arena, and that was, of course, win trading. At least on our servers, and a friends of mine servers said the same thing.
Yeah, win trading, unfortunately, I think it's just a byproduct of arena. It happens, but I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. I think, and people always say another thing is like, oh, well, people buying, to rank up. Like, even if you are buying to rank up, you still have to be a decent enough player to rank up.
Yeah, you're not going to get carried by one person.
Yeah, exactly.
In these higher brackets.
Or whatever. Yeah, so it's like, and so, yeah, there are negative things that come with arena, like win trading, like, buying, a rank, stuff like that. At the end of the day, though, I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. I don't think it's going to be that big of a worry. When people bring up if we're at 2.4.3, then you're going to see a lot of, the same metas going over. You're going to see a lot of Warrior Druid in 2v2. You're going to see Priest Mage Rogue, PMR or RMP, a lot in 3v3. And you're going to you're going to see a lot of, I think we lost Pohgren for a sec. I think we're going to see a lot of the same, but at the end of the day, though, like people are playing right now in private servers, and they're showing that, certain comps are doing better. And I think the meta still hasn't been 100% figured out yet for a lot of TBC stuff, which is really exciting for TBC, right? Because Classic, everyone played on Classic private servers. Not a lot of people played on TBC private servers. For me, I did a lot. But I still think there's still a good amount of stuff to be discovered for TBC, which is really exciting as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, what we have just said about this TBC, and we are kind of still left in the dark, like how will Blizzard do this? And I'm like seeing it from my perspective, right? I haven't played Classic for like 6 months, so take me as one example, maybe if it's a good or bad example. But it's like I didn't feel like I didn't get to play Classic to its full extent because things happen in real life, and what happened to our guild disbanded and everything, some transferred to other servers and yada yada. So, and I didn't feel like I had so much energy left, to look for that other new guild and start all over again, get to know people and everything. So, the TLDR thing here, and my question is, so will I be more or less forced to play Classic now in order not to fall, too far behind, with gold or crafting or things like that, So, we don't know if it's going to be a gold cap or not. So, yeah.
So my answer to that would be it totally depends on what you expect to get out of TBC.
And what class you want to play.
Right. Now, if you want to if you are looking to be like a hardcore raider and to be at the top echelon, yeah, you're going to miss out because you're not going to have the gold, you're not going to be at the level cap, you're not going to have, a lot of the, like the professions, all this, that, and the other, than someone else. But being as a casual player where you're not, like worried about rating on week 2 of like, whatever, this, that, and the other, I don't think it's gonna actually be that much of a deterrent for you, because there are going to be a lot of people that are starting and playing Paladin and starting from level 1 on the Horde side, and a lot of Alliance are going to be starting at level 1 playing Shaman.
And then you got to think about everyone re-rolling, right?
Yep, a lot of people re-rolling. So I think honestly, VX, it's a good place for someone to come in and start for the first time, unless you're like like Melderon and I, we're probably going to level our 60s first, get them to 70 as soon as possible, and then try to raid as soon as we can. Now, but if you're not in that top echelon of like, trying to raid in week 2 or whatever, I wouldn't worry about it at all, really. I really wouldn't worry too much about it.
I mean, the hardcore guilds will, of course, get those paladins, so they will boost them up or whatever. So of course, people will get their, shamans, Draenei shamans up or Blood Elf paladins up,
right,
and stuff like that. So and please don't get me wrong, guys, and my beloved fellow people who are listening into this. Like, I'm not saying, like, of course, someone who has played those 6 months when I didn't should naturally have an edge on me. I did not mean it to be, disrespectful to others. I'm just like coming from my point of view in this. It's like, should I play Classic now? Should I not play Classic? I've been thinking about this for the last months. Should I play? Should I not play? Am I forced? Should I? Should I not? Should I wait, see what's happened with TBC survey?
It would definitely. It would probably help you either way, right?
Yeah, to be on the safe side, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't think you have to feel like you're forced to, right? Because like either way, if you're gonna have gold, you're gonna have more materials, you're gonna have more of this, that, and other. Going into TBC, yes, right. Especially if we get the transfer thing like we were thinking, right? So, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't really weigh on. I don't think it should weigh on your mind too much, because if you just started right when TBC came out, I don't feel like you're going to be that much behind. You know what I mean?
As long as I play on the same server, right, or the same site, it's like so I don't level up any, Because I have a confession to make. I did actually play on Alliance one time with a friend of mine before I really started playing.
No.
For shame.
But it was not Night Elf Hunter, not female Night Elf Hunter.
Thank God. Thank God. Was it a no?
Yeah. Nope, it was a human female.
Okay. Oh, God.
Phew.
I forgive you. So I'm a priest. You can give me your confession. I'll forgive you.
So I don't get much gold on that Alliance character, because I have no plans to play on Alliance in TBC when that comes. So my heart is still my life on the Horde. It's still there.
Nice.
So that means I should focus on playing some of my characters. I do still have my level 60 characters, and some of them actually have pre-raid bis gear, but that's more for like MC still or something. It was 6 months ago. So
but still, I mean, it's you're going to replace everyone's. So there are going to be some people who are going to use and where Crix has been making some videos and talking about this. So there are going to be people who are going to be bringing things with them from vanilla now. Like for me, for instance, as a priest, the Blue Dragon deck, right, is actually very good trinket to have in TBC, because it has a chance to proc every time someone is healed from my circle of healing. So there are things that and a lot of people are going to be using a lot of their tier 3 as like pre-raid bis and this, that, and other. But then everyone else is going to be replacing their gear with pretty early, because the TBC gear that you get from leveling is so good, a lot of it, because a lot of it has the crit rating and how the talents and how the how the gear changes and how a lot of the stats change. A lot of that gear is available pretty early on in TBC. So I think a lot of people are going to be replacing a good amount of gear pretty early on as well. So but of course there will be those people who still utilize a lot of their tier and a lot of their PvP gear in the first before the first season comes out and stuff like that. So it will give some people an advantage, definitely, but I don't think it's going to be so much so that you're going to be like it's going to ruin your experience or anything like that.
And I'm at the closing thoughts that I want to share with you, and this is actually I saved the best for the last, so to speak. So this is important, I would say. So I think my questions are basically like this, like, yeah, what are the things that we can all agree on? Because I have already, written down some things, and I have my, spreadsheet up there that I can just pull in, or type whatever we are, agreeing with there. Because, yeah, if we're going to let the servers progress or whatever, which is a terrible idea, because the alliance and hold ratio and gold cap and all the things that we are just spoken about, right? Because once we four here could come to some agreement, it should be out there on the web as well, so people can add their point of view or flat out vote for that fifth option. Because and also where to publish it. So there is a bigger chance Blizzard might get this message, especially if it grows bigger, right, and popular, and they can check it out. So, and perhaps add a pre-patch of Blood Elf Draenei could get 2 months before the portal opens. I mean, the ideas are out there in the open. So basically, what I'm asking of you guys is like, well, I mean, I don't think that Blizzard only listens to bigger streamers like Asmok or SFan, right? I'm sure they listen to others as well. So I kind of want to ask you all three here, and we start from here, because like I said, so many content creators just do their thing, ask a question, and nothing is combined, right? So I wanted to make at least this starting things on my end. So, and what can we all agree on? Should it be a fresh server start, or should it be a gold cap, or is there anything that we can agree on all four here right now?
Well, I don't know. So my thing is, I'm pretty hard stance on this. It should be an opt-in, and you should have a gold cap. That's how I think it should be, and I think you should. I think you can transfer as many characters as you want. I don't think you should be able to have a cap on that, because, like for me, I have 5 alts that make my main work. So I have a hunter who does all my skinning for my leatherworking. I have a druid that does herbalism and mining. I have a bank alt. I have a disenchanting alt. Like, I need all these guys that come with Melderon, or else he's like kind of gimped. That's for me. That's how I feel.
I agree a lot with what Melderon said. I agree with a lot. Only thing I would differ is I would definitely put a gold cap. I think it should be an opt-in. I think you should. I don't think there should be a max amount of players. I think there should be definitely a max amount of gold, but I would like to see the servers be, maybe more servers and less of them, and to have, more servers with less people, and to have a cap on how many horde can be on the server versus how many alliance. So, maybe having something like that where, you can only, if so many thousand people already make horde on there, they stop the horde for a little bit and allow alliance, something like that, so that we don't have the major issue of having a 99% horde versus alliance, something like that.
Fresh TBC servers? Question mark?
Yes, fresh. I don't want to see Scarum, the server I'm in,
right. Sorry, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Same with me.
I don't want to see that, because that doesn't solve the issue for the faction imbalance.
Yeah, because one big question mark before Pohgren can answer also, of course, which I'm looking forward to, because this is important. It's like, when you say gold cap, I am for it, but the big question is, of course, how much, right? Because if we're talking about transfer, then what's to stop them? So like, well, I can transfer one character with X amount of gold, and I can transfer next one with X amount of gold, right? So what should be the gold cap?
10K per server, per account, I think. 10K per account.
Ish, right?
Yeah.
That sounds about reasonable.
Yeah, 10K per account, I think is fair.
I mean, people back then knew that TBC was coming, but the information and knowledge that we have about the game now is just so much more. Back then, we saved up gold, but we didn't know that the flying mount was going to cost 5,000 gold. I think I had like 500 gold or something when I went to the first time. Yeah. I was broke, more or less.
I about the same. Yeah, but I think 10,000 per account. That's enough to get your main, his flying amount, and pay for some other stuff. If you want to. And the other big thing is, like, you don't have to invest it all in gold. You can invest it in materials. So obviously jewel crafting is going to be big. A lot of people are going to get jewel crafting because it's a new profession. So what you can do is, you can, if you have more than 10,000 gold, you can spend money buying a lot of the things that are going to be very fruitful in TBC. So I'll be like, oh my god, I have 20-something thousand gold. Well, maybe spend the rest of that gold that you have on buying materials up and having them ready for TBC. So that would be, I would say, 10,000 raw gold, per account, and then you can bring whatever materials you want with you in the TBC as well.
Yeah, it's like Asmongold wants 0 gold and only buying on pickup items, for example, and he's a big streamer and everything. So, and before Pohgren can get, he feels like he's been drafted. So I'm just gonna say this as my final words. It has been a blast as always, and I'm happy to help. So when I listed all these things that we have been talked about, and I typed those things. And what I've said, that I kind of felt a bit more urge to make my own channel, because I'm just, watching others all the time, and I'm like, I want to pitch in, I want to say this, that's wrong, no, you should do it like this, or maybe we can talk about this, it's like, but then it's like, what would one more channel mean if everyone is doing their own thing and trying to make instead of trying to make this combined effort? And that's what's the reason why I was also reaching out to hand reviews, like, is there some way we can come out with some agreement so we don't sit in our own little corner and just like, I have my video, I say this, I make my video and I say that, we have to make some more of a combined effort together, right, and put it out there somehow.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. Why am I looking it the wrong way? Yeah.
No, I think you're right. That's the goal, is to get some kind of consensus, because like you said, it's just like someone spouting information out into the ether, and it's just one person's opinion. I think if it can be shown that people can come with a an agreement, that's important, right? And that's what I think Blizzard needs, is to see that people can come to agreement on this topic.
Yeah, and that's what I had. And go ahead, Pohgren. You're up.
Oh, okay. So to reiterate kind of what they did, I'm going to put this in the sweeter bulletin points. First off, new servers, not transferring not using the pre-existing ones. Secondly, you are going to be able to opt in. I agree with that, 110%. A gold cap, yes. There has to be some sort of gold cap. How they could work it is, it all depends on what Blizzard wants to put into work for here. Having it be $10,000 for an account, or 10,000 gold, per account, I don't know how they could implement that, but that would be the most ideal scenario. 10,000 gold is a gold cap in general, perfect. The other thing is, outside of that, I would want to call for almost no changes on anything else. Like we're not requiring people to drop items that aren't bind on account. Like what you said, Asmongold was talking about. I know that's just him spitballing ideas, because Asmongold wants the best for this, just like any of the other content creators want the best for this. They don't want some sort of tilted experience for them. I mean, there may be people out there like that, but that's not what I get from certain people. And the only other thing I could ask from the community is, when going into this, don't try to force the meta. Let it exist. Let it be known. Let content creators give you their best idea of what X, Y, and Z is going to do for your character, at what gear. But if there's going to be a meta, let the meta work primarily for those top tier guilds, and let the rest of us enjoy the game.
Well said.
Yeah, I mean I hope that can happen this time around. I hope the world buffs allow it to happen more than they did in Classic, because I mean, at the end of the day, you should be able to, kind of play this game the way you want to, and guilds should have the wherewithal, and I've learned this myself, to be like, this is our expectations from day one. If you don't like these expectations, I'm sure you can find a guild that has different expectations, and that's okay. And that should be be... I'll never understand why people care about what other people do. I never understood that. Like, whether it's political, whether it's sexual, whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't give a shit what anyone else does, as long as they're not hurting anyone else, right? Like that's the way I look at the world. So why would you care if another guild's not doing what you're doing? I don't get it. I never understood that. But now, top echelon guilds that are competitive, that's different, right?
Yes.
But I'm talking about like Joe Blow guild and Joe Blow guild. Like I don't care what another guild is doing. First of all, we're not competitive. And if I see another guild in the server that's doing well or not doing well or struggling, it doesn't change my experience at all. I mean, I would like to talk to those people and get to know them, but I'm not going to tell them, oh, you didn't clear MC in less than blah, blah, blah. What the F is wrong with you? Like, who cares? You know what I mean? I don't know. I never understood that, but whatever.
Yeah, I think all in all, to wrap this up and to bring it all together, I think all of us care about this game so much. We love it. We want to see it succeed. We want to see it in the potential that we know it can be. And I think we want it to be, what we all remembered it could be. And obviously it's not going to be exactly that. And it's not going to be, it's going to be completely different. It's this and the other. But it's not wrong for us to try to emulate that as much as we can. So I think, not having these big crazy changes, like, yeah, you know what, would it be fair for the Alliance to have Sealed Blood? Yeah, it would be fair, but that wasn't the way it was. It's a really cool RB thing that Blood Elf Paladins have Sealed Blood, and that's the way it is. And I'm sorry that it is that way and people don't like it, but that's the way it was. And I think
same in Classic.
Yeah, exactly. Same in Classic. We have a lot of things that are different, but that's the flavor that we all love. That's the thing that we love about it the most. And is the game perfect? Of course not, right? But why should we try to change something that we know works? So let's try to keep it as close to the way we can. Let's let everyone have their own experience. Look at yourself, see what you want out of the game, and try to get that. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't try to ruin someone else's experience. And we all love this game. We love the community. I think the community is the best part of this game. And thank you guys so much for bringing us in here and talking about this, because it definitely needed to be talked about. So
I actually forgot one very quick thing here. What do you think about, should there be a pre-patch or not, so people will get like 1 or 2 months beforehand before the gates open, or should it just open flat out?
Open flat out. I mean, that didn't happen back in the day. Why should it happen now? Yeah.
Just wanted to ask it.
Yeah. Anybody else think anything else on that? But
no, because in the pre-patch in Classic, you couldn't level the other races, right?
No, you could not.
Yeah.
Right. The only other thing I would say is there's something that, like, again, this goes back onto plenty of people play the way that we just hammered this in pretty hard. The last nail I want to put into this coffin, just from my perspective, we all joined to play Classic WoW because it wasn't homogenized and it wasn't set out and it wasn't a clear path. We did it because we thought it would be cool and it would give us back to the more Wild Wild West. Classic still is Wild Wild West. There's still things coming out of the woodwork that are great. But if it wasn't meant to be homogenized and balanced, don't try to force it to be.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's kind of what it is. Like, try to make it work, sure. Go ahead, but don't force it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because then you're just going to change something else on the line, and it's going to, But yeah, I think a lot of us are on the same page here, and I appreciate, and I hope Blizzard does listen to this, because I think a lot of what we're saying, people I'm sure are going to have slight disagreements, but I think for the most part, people do agree that they want the game to be as close as it can be to what it was, and try to emulate that experience as much as possible. Obviously, it's going to be different. Obviously, it's going to have its unique things that are going to be different because it's how many years later. But there's nothing wrong with trying to emulate, what we enjoyed so much in the past.
Yep. 100%. Well, guys, we're going to round off. Thanks so much for watching this, listening to this podcast. There are other podcasts as well. We have a SoundCloud, and we, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, all those things where you can find these podcasts. And if you're not aware, we do have a YouTube channel, Defcamp and Melderon TV on YouTube. And these gentlemen also, Pohgren has a YouTube channel as well.
I do.
Yep. And what is the is it just Pohgren?
Yeah, you should be able to find me at YouTube.com/Pohgren, and then same thing on Twitch. Yeah. There you go.
Cool. And VX will take the plunge one day.
He's talking about it. I almost got him there the other day.
Of course, bastard Swedish guy. All right.
No.
Hey, apparently the Swedish are really good at YouTube, so I'm sure you'll be good at it.
at least we can make ourselves understandable when it comes to English anyway. That's my only regret, that I'm not living in the States. Something. I mean, it's kind of silly sometimes when I like talk to them. It's like, well, most of my friends that I have on the YouTube, it's like is from the USA, from America, right? It's like, what? Yeah, shouldn't I be more comfortable with the EU guys? But there is not so many content creators from US. Like we have Shimbley and we have Dunedain, but that's two, right? So when we have a plethora of US guys, and well, I did find you for over 1 or 2 years ago, and I've been here ever since. So I'm happy to help.
I know, bro.
But yeah, maybe I will do that my own channel, but I will need some help, setting that up. I have been looking closely to that program that you sent me, Melderon, by the way. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah, we're here to help, brother.
100%.
Yeah. So VX might get his own channel, and well, to be continued.
There you go. Keep an eye out, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Keep binding and grinding.
100%. See ya.